Hello, everybody. It's Sunday night. The name of the show is Intuitive Inc. Intuitive Inc. Okay, we should know this is live, so you can't make mistakes like that. But we have to go one more time. The name of the show is Intuitive Inc., and I am still Servette Hassan. We've got a really good show for you tonight because we're going to be talking about little furry creatures and feathered creatures and slimy creatures. But just our favorite, one of my favorite things to talk about is animals and pets and how much good they do for us. And we have a friend back on the line who's been here before, and she's back again. She's not sick of me yet. Her name is Frances W. Greenspan. She's awesome. She talks to the animals. Yes, she does. She is Mrs. Dr. Doolittle. No, she's not. But anyway, she's written. She wants to be. No. She's the author of 3 books on animal communication. I'm going to get settled down here and learn to talk. I promise. I just got excited because it's those little furry creatures, and my little pet is in the other room right now going, where are you? Where are you? She's the author of 3 books on animal communication. She's a teacher. She's a speaker and knows all about this. So welcome, Frances. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. It's Sunday night. Yeah, I'll calm down. Trust me. It's just been a fun day, and I love this subject. But I just, there's so much scientific evidence lately. Like I read about something where the sound of the way a cat purrs is the exact same frequency that they use to heal humans. So I found that fascinating in that one study. I'm not going to name the studies because, I don't know, maybe they only tested 5 people. Maybe they tested 5,000. I don't know. But I'm sure there's some truth going on here because I know it works. And the other thing was they said, well, that's why they said that cats heal physically and dogs heal mentally, emotionally, which is, I think they both do both, but that's, was the study that I read. And then I also read another study where children with autism were having greater improvement if they were connected with and interacting with guinea pigs. So I was like, come on, this is all kind of, you must have a few tidbits yourself, no, Frances?
Oh, absolutely. The animals, I've had clients, the animals take on the energies to help relieve symptoms. For example, with chemotherapy, if a patient is undergoing chemotherapy, the animal will not be feeling as good because they're also taking on that energy so that the person, their owner, does not have to feel the full amount of it. Mm-hmm. So I always say if you're taking your pet to the vet and the vet has, say, a thyroid condition or kidney issues or something, check yourself out because they take on many times, they take on your symptoms so that you don't have to. Myself, I had a cat a couple years ago that had, I believe it was kidney failure, and a year later I discovered my kidneys had some issues, and I have to go, the doctor wanted me to go vegan, and I settled with vegetarian, but I do allow fish, so I think that's pescatarian. But it is the symptoms, there aren't any symptoms, so it's from blood tests, so I wouldn't have known. Right. But it was truly amazing that he took it on for me.
Yeah, did you actually go to the doctor, Frances, because of that? Or were you feeling other things?
It was a year later, and I discovered my numbers were off. And so I insisted on seeing a specialist, nephrologist, a kidney specialist. And he did a test, and he said, absolutely, and you cannot have animal protein. The kidneys cannot take it. And what he believed years ago, I had an injury, and I probably overdid with the not the Tylenol, the ibuprofen, Advil.
Yeah.
Those affect the kidneys, and Tylenol affects the liver. So,
right.
That's just the way it is.
Right, exactly. That does. Well, that's amazing. And I know you've had other clients that you've said that did. Well, I think they're very intuitive. I think animals are very extremely intuitive. I mean, even when I'm not feeling well, like I've got some issues going on. I'm going to need, for those of you that know me out there and some of you that don't, I'm going to need surgery soon. And, it's a little tension. There's a lot of anxiety and tension that go along with that in the beginning. And, I meditate. I've been doing all of that. And my dog knows. Harper knows. Harper's almost 8 years old now. She knows when something's up. She can feel it. And I noticed that when I'm sleeping at night, she's leaning against where I'm hurting. And she's never done that. Yeah, because it's really warm right now. So she has a tendency in the summertime to just hang close, but not that close. And over the last couple of weeks, she's been leaning right where it hurts. She knows,
That they are telepathic, and they know. They take it on. I had another client who said the dog kept looking at her, and come to find out she had a recurrence of a cancer she had been battling. So the dog was, by giving this attention, this was his signal to her, but of course she didn't pick up on what it was, other than the dog knew before she did.
Right. And I truly do believe that. And I do think, these studies that are coming out, because I think animals, there's studies that are old that say that, people live longer if they have a dog. They're healthier because they're walking them. But there's also something to be said about just the oxytocin levels in you that escalate because you're around pets who they just love you unconditionally, right? I mean,
there's a calming effect that the animals have, whether it's the dog that's leaning against you and you're petting it, and it's that rhythm of the petting, or the purring of the cat. It's funny because I adopted 2 little kittens. They're 3.5 months. They're sisters.
Right. And recently? Just now?
Yeah. Memorial weekend.
They're brand
new. So they were 8 weeks old. So I
Mm-hmm.
decided to take on 2 little ones.
Oh,
and my 13-year-old grumpy old man, who really the previous 2 had passed on, and he was the last one, and he was just a grumpy old guy. When I brought the 2 little ones, it has brought him out of his shell. He just sits there and gets entertained by those 2. So the little ones even bring out the youthfulness to him, and the energy to him. His whole attitude has changed, so that's been good to see, too.
Oh, yeah, I'm so excited. You have little kids. What are their names, Frances? What are their names?
Well, the 2 are Sage and Ollie, and I took them to the vet just a couple weeks ago for their first immunizations. And I thought it was a he and a she. It ended up Ollie. The vet said, you might want to call her Olive.
Oh,
I thought
2
my
girls.
My little girl was a little boy. So Olive, it's actually Olivia now, but I still call her Ollie.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. That's awesome. I mean, actually, because little kitties aren't I don't think I could do a puppy again. Do you know what I mean? Puppies are puppies, and Harper's almost, 8 years old now. So it's like, I don't know that I could do the house, training and the whole.
Oh, yeah.
Puppies are a little bit more of a handful, but 2 little kitties, I can't even stand. I bet they're adorable. So congratulations. Now, I have to ask, I really do, new mommy, are they connecting with you already? Are you talking to them already?
No, they are hesitant to talk. It's interesting because I find my animals do not talk to me in the same way that other animals do. It's like the shoemaker whose own kids don't have shoes. My guys don't necessarily talk to me except when they're not feeling well. I find that's when they talk to me. In the same way that I talk to the others. I can see by looking at them, I know they're hearing me. I know they know what I want, and they listen. For the most part, the little ones have been. But they don't talk back. I don't hear the words like I do with the others.
Huh. That's interesting.
Not yet.
Uh-huh. Has it always been that way with every pet you've had over your, lifetime? Or is this just this case?
Since I have discovered my gifts, I truly have not had words spoken to me except when they were ill. And I asked one of the cats who seemed to be having a seizure. I said, show me what's going on. And she had my head spin. I said, okay, I don't need to see anymore. And then I had to put her down because this was towards the end. And when I dropped her off, said my goodbyes, left a note for the vet because I couldn't talk. I was so upset. And when I came home about an hour later, I felt her energy come through me and say thank you.
Oh.
And that was my only experience with that full circle. It's fascinating.
Well, I remember kind of the last time you were on the show, you said that you only had one kitty now, and that the one kitty was happy being the one kitty. So that went out the window, right?
Well, I decided if he was happy, but I wasn't.
Oh,
so.
Yeah. But you know what, though?
So
actually, he probably is happy, just didn't know it, that he would be. Because I think when you have little young ones around, it really does kind of bring out the youthfulness and the playfulness again. Gets them active. It's probably the best thing that could happen to him, the grumpy old man.
I think so. I think he was bored, and I think he was pissed off at me. It is the way that he was appearing to me. And then I just decided, okay, well, I want some lovey-dovey little ones. And since you're not going to be lovey-dovey, then I'm going to bring a couple in. I figured bring two, they could play with each other, whether he played with them or not.
Right.
So,
right. Well, there you go. And,
he watches them.
I think everything's better in threes anyway. So it's just, they do. They need company when they're that little. They need company. Yeah. And he's a grumpy old man, and you know how grumpy old men are. They're better left alone.
He's like Grandpa on the park bench watching them,
Yeah. Okay, yeah. And then when I'm done watching them and I don't want any more of this, they can kind of go away and hide because they still have each other. Yeah. They still have each other. I'm thrilled for you. That's great. All right. I want you to tell people out there what you're up to. We are going to open the lines for callers to call in. The number is 949-313-8880. We're on the phone with Frances W. Greenspan, who's an animal communicator and author of 3 books. What are the 3 books, Frances?
Well, I'm excited. My first 2 books, What Do Your Pets Want You to Know? And Learn to Speak with the Animals. Both of those are now available on Amazon and Kindle. And I'm in the process of putting the 3rd one there, More Messages Your Pets Want You to Know.
Okay.
So
good.
Right now, they're up on Kindle and Amazon, the first 2, and the 3rd one is on its way.
Okay.
I'm just in the final process.
But in the meantime, they can still get them on your website too, right?
Absolutely. They can get it directly from me. Absolutely.
Okay, and that is franceswgreenspan.com, right?
Correct.
And I'm going to spell your name. It's Frances W Greenspan, GREENSPAN.com. And because I know you also do one-on-ones with people that have questions about their animals. So for those of you out there that are listening, call in right now. You'll get a minute with Frances for free. 949-313-8880. If you have a question about your pet or how your pet can help, you can help your pet heal you more. Or if you just want to communicate with a pet in general, whether they're alive or have passed on to another dimension, you can call in and talk to Frances personally, because I would love that. I think it's nice to be able to do that when people. So, okay, so we did your website, and what else are you up to? Are you doing any workshops you want to tell people out there that are in California?
I am teaching my Learn to Speak with the Animals in August, and I just went blank on the date. It's in Huntington Beach.
It's okay. It's on your website.
Sorry?
I'm sure it's on your website, right?
Yeah, my calendar's on my website. So in August, it's Spiritual Origins in Huntington Beach on 3rd Street. Mm-hmm. And September and October, I'm teaching at Awakenings in Laguna Hills on La Paz. And It's a 2-hour class, and it's various exercises in learning your intuitive abilities in how you receive information. I believe everybody can and does. It's whether you recognize what you're receiving and how you're receiving it and trusting it. And really it's about the trust. And in class we do readings for each other and get confirmation that what you're getting is truth. And it's just trusting whatever comes and not questioning it.
Right.
And that takes time sometimes.
It does. How do you get confirmation? You said that you do readings for each other and then get a confirmation of it.
Because you're reading, you're getting a message, mm-hmm. writing it down, mm-hmm. and then we go around and read for each other what we got. And so then the person, when they're reading them the information, then it's like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going through right now, or whatever it is.
Right.
And
now,
we start with reading for each other, and then we read from photos of pets.
Okay, so it's photographs that you bring in, and real
yes.
Real photographs, not here's my cell phone, look at the picture. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I like to start with real photos,
mm-hmm.
and then we do go to where you don't have a picture, so that you can experience what it is without seeing. Because sometimes seeing the picture can get in the way of getting a direct contact of information, because it gets a little, what's the word, like your head kind of goes to what you're seeing and thinking instead of just the direct information.
Well, that's what I say. It's sometimes better to do readings on anything at all, to bring your intuition into play in life, period. I think you have to kind of keep your mind out of it,
Absolutely.
And sometimes when you see a picture or you hear or you touch something, it can influence you, and then you start using your mind. Because to me, psychic ability, which I think everybody has, mm-hmm. is not something, to me, psychics can go in and read some energy and pull information out. And sometimes they use their mind to interpret it, which leaves room for error. And to me, intuition is sort of like the way instinct is a spontaneous reaction of your mind. Like you don't think about breathing. You don't think about digesting your food. And if you did, you'd probably be dead by now. It's like, it's like there's so many ends. But so it's a spontaneous reaction of your mind. And to me, your intuition is a spontaneous reaction of your soul. So if you're connecting to like that, yeah. Mm-hmm, go ahead.
And it's like having mm-hmm. a gut feeling.
Yes.
As soon as it comes, and that can be in your life in general. And once you get that gut feeling and a knowing, mm-hmm. it's like that spirit telling you, giving you the information.
Right.
And if you question that gut feeling, then to me, you're also questioning what you're receiving, and not putting you in the direction of whatever was supposed to be.
Right. Exactly. That's right. You have to try with everything, not just animals and communicating.
Absolutely.
It's with people. It's with anyone. It's with little babies who can't talk yet, just like animals. You know,
absolutely.
It's a gut reaction. You're right. So that's And I don't, even when I do people, I won't look at a photograph on a cell phone. It has to be in person, because there's something about their eyes. There's something about cell phones where you just can't really see it right, I think. So,
well, for me, the energy of the electronics is not agreeable to me either. It's like when somebody sends me a photo through the computer, I'm not really looking at it, because just being around the electronics, to me, gets in the way of the purity of the energy.
Right. Are you still doing the artwork too? I mean, you did some amazing. Frances is an awesome artist. She did some amazing portraits of people's pets. Are you still doing that?
I'm not doing the portraits right now. However, I have loads of my pre-printed note cards, notepads, magnets, all that good stuff in my eBay store. It was animal drawings by Frances W. Greenspan. And I'm selling my stock that I've been collecting and doing. I used to do craft shows for like 15 years. They're pen and ink animal drawings.
Right.
And so all that, in my garage and selling on eBay.
Good for you. And it's called, what's the name of the eBay store again for everybody?
It's Animal Drawings by F.W. Greenspan.
Okay, good. There you go, everybody. But it amazed me, because I've seen the work in person, live, that you can do that with pen and ink. It blows me away that it's, it's like.
It's fun.
Hmm?
It's fun.
Where did you learn to do that? Have you always been fascinated by animals since you were born?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm an only child, and so to me, animals were my playmates. Mm-hmm. And so my dog and I would go to the park, and he'd run around, and then he'd come back to me, and we'd go for a walk, and we'd play. And so my animals, and I had cats, I had a bird. I mean, I've always had one or two, always animals. Mm-hmm. And they were my playmates. And so as I grew up, my drawings, my paintings, whatever I did was always animals.
Wow.
It's because that's what I was attracted to.
What's the strangest pet you've ever had? Have you had a really cool, weird, strange?
Owned a strange pet? No.
No.
But I have read for a turtle, and the turtle. I read for basically a farm.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the lady had an iguana in one cage and the turtle across the way, and she said she was going to moving the turtle, and she pointed to the iguana's cage, and I went, wait a minute, turtle's wanting to know, is the iguana going to be there when you put him in there? And she said, oh, no, I'm moving the iguana someplace else. Okay, that makes the turtle feel better.
Oh, wow. Oh, how funny. Wow, so it doesn't matter who or what. It's just,
no.
Yeah, well, it's just.
I prefer animals that have an owner attached to them. So not necessarily like the whales and the dolphins in the ocean. I like the relationship part of it and helping to relieve, especially if they're a rescue or if an animal had crossed over. They have issues, either the owner has issues after the animal crosses over, or the pet comes to a new home after being a rescue and having a history, of abuse or abandonment or whatever, and they're afraid to get too close to their current owner, and they don't know this is a forever home. They're thinking this is just a train station stop,
Right.
So
right.
assuring them this is their forever home is
Yeah.
always helpful.
And that's why I think a lot of dogs especially have anxiety when you leave them all day or you're gone all day.
Absolutely.
And they've been rescued. They don't know. They think you're
Exactly.
leaving. They think you're leaving them again. They just don't get it. They just don't get it.
Yeah.
What do you suggest to those people? What do you tell
Well,
them?
I try to explain that the animals don't know when you say I'll be back. Well, that doesn't mean 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 hours. They don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can be specific and get in the habit of saying, I'll be back for lunch. I'll be back when the sun goes down. I'll be back at dinner time.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going on vacation, they understand the sun going down. They don't know, days on a calendar. But if you say, I'll be back after the sun goes down 4 times, and then I'll be back. And Aunt Susie's going to be staying here with you, and she'll be feeding, just tell them. So there's no question, because it's obvious they're knowing about you going away because you've been talking about it or you've been thinking about it. And by the time the luggage comes out, they already know because you've been talking and thinking about it so much. And telepathically, it's there. Mm-hmm. So, their anxiety gets more because they don't know, okay, am I going? Is she leaving? Is it, do I get to go on this one? Why can't she take me? Why can't she take me? And so sometimes I will help clients explaining to the animals the reason you can't go is because they're going to go on a big plane, and taking a dog on a big plane, you don't get to sit where mom sits. You have to sit under where the luggage is, and that isn't very comfortable. So
unless you've met Mr. Darcy, who travels with my daughter, and he gets the window seat. He's a Jack Russell Fox Terrier mix, and he does look like Mr. Darcy. And he is so accustomed to when he sees his suitcase comes out too. It's the backpack that goes on the plane with her and him, and then her luggage gets checked. But when he sees his luggage come out, he gets in. He knows we're leaving. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. And yes, he looks out the window the whole way. It's hilarious till he falls asleep. But anyway, he's traveled on a plane more time, but most don't. So you're right. But because I know when Harper sees a suitcase, she freaks out. She knows she's not going. But you made a really good point earlier, really good point, because when I tell her 5 minutes and I walk out the door, she doesn't blink because she knows I'm throwing the trash out. If I have the trash in my hand and I say 5 minutes, she could care less. She didn't even blink.
Right.
And if I tell her I'm going to be gone for a while and I'll be back around lunchtime or dinner or whatever, the sun's going to be down when I come, and I'm giving her a treat with it, she still doesn't get anxious because she knows she's getting the treat. She knows, oh, you're going to be gone a little longer, but that's okay. It's the luggage is a whole other story, but they're smarter than we think they are. I think.
Absolutely.
I think so.
Absolutely.
I know. I've read the studies on that too, where they say, because it's not our brains that determine our intelligence. I think, it's the amount of the frontal lobe in proportion to the rest of your brain. So we, chimpanzees, monkeys, they have like 45%. And I think it was like dogs came out and elephants were really high too, and horses. And then it was like dogs are like 7 or 8% and cats are like 3.5%, and everybody hit the roof because they were like, what? You mean to tell us dogs really are smarter than cats? I was like, I don't know. It was an interesting study that I read on that, but I think they're much smarter than we give them credit for. I really do. And they pick up, like I said, how does Harper know where I'm hurting? Maybe I have signs of it without realizing it. Maybe I'm holding that side more, something. I don't know. But I
believe they're more intuitive.
Yeah, exactly.
And I believe that they may even have the ability to see the body in imaging more so than we recognize.
Right.
Because you've got so many animals in, say, nursing care places roaming and sitting next to the one that's going to pass. I mean, really, so they're seeing spirit. They're seeing their guides coming. They're like, oh, over here. All right,
Well, if they can find bombs and sniff out drugs, I think they can detect illness. I think they can do a lot. I totally agree with you, Frances. I really do. Listen, people, wake up. If you have a call to call in, you know what happens is that everybody then says to me after the show, oh, I wanted to call in and then I got on too late and So people out there, no more excuses. If you have a question for Frances, call in now. 949-313-8880. Question about your pet, any pet at all. And it doesn't have to be about illness. That was the directive tonight. I just found it fascinating that our pets really do heal us and that there are more emotional support animals now in the history of this country than there have ever been. And not just the ones to get on a plane, because my daughter's dog, Mr. Darcy, actually did save her life. Really, she just started law school at the University of Pennsylvania, and I thought she was going to have a heart attack or something. And he was a rescue. He was taken out by the ASPCA from a home, which is really hard to do. So I think they saved each other, They found each other and
Absolutely.
They saved each other. But I'm not just talking about that kind of support. I'm talking about now they're using them for PTSD. More
Absolutely.
and more and more. They're using them for cancer patients that are in treatment and for chemotherapy. You talked about that earlier. And I mean, just all kinds of things. And I found this fascinating. This is something I'm actually really going to research more, is the children with autism, that we're interacting better with other children because of a pet. And it could be a guinea pig or a hamster.
I saw one clip about a dog that improved the young boy with autism, that it calmed him down. He knew when he was going to have his shakes or when he was going to be on overload, and it was a matter of just calming him down and just putting his head on his paw on him. And it's just amazing. They just know. It's amazing.
Right. And you know what? The thing about it, too, is just like your little kitties are helping the grumpy old man, they help you, too. They help you, too. I mean, they do. When you're around little kittens and puppies and just a loving animal, because when they're babies, they're even more they're just full of even more unconditional love. And they just, they make you feel good. Don't they make you feel good?
Oh, absolutely. If I've had a tough day and I'm sitting down and I don't even want to put the TV on, I just want to sit there, and the little one comes up, the little Sage, she's my lovey-dovey one. She comes up and she sits in my lap and just starts purring. It's like, that's all I need.
Well, I truly think they are the greatest stress buster of all. I mean, that and a glass of wine and you're set. You're all set.
Exactly.
You're just set. I really think that there's so much anxiety and so many people on antidepressants and all kinds of other mood altering drugs in this day and age, and I think it's one of the greatest ways to do it naturally. And also, I think, when you're happy, better things happen. It's just, that's how it is.
See, having a positive outlook. It's just so nice to have a smile on your face. Mm-hmm. Just watching them, I'll throw their balls and they're running all over and they're just having fun. And watching them have fun. Right now I'm watching the little one has all of a sudden discovered climbing.
She climbing on the phone, so she wants to get on the air. See, you just have a natural entertainer who wants to follow in Mommy's footstep and let's be interviewed on the radio, right?
Yes, it's like, hello, me.
You're much better than I am because I can't have Harper in the room when I do my show because she'll bark. But also I get distracted and then I'm like, oh, what'd you say? Just looking at the
Where
dog.
am I?
Yeah, exactly. Really. It's Sunday night. I really honestly, people, because that's what happens, people. But you know what? If you have a question for Frances and you miss her on the show today, you can always find her at franceswgreenspan.com and talk to her about your animals there. I mean, she's available. She's not hard to find. And if not, call in now, 949-313-8880. So love to hear from you if you have any questions, because we're starting to run out of time, because you get into the last, 20 minutes or so of the show, and, you have time for one caller then. So please call in if you have a question. And if you have a question about an animal that is passed on, that's moved to another dimension, please ask about that too, because that's one of your fortes, isn't it, Frances?
Absolutely. And what I ask for when I do tune in, I ask for their name, their age, or if they've crossed over, what they are, if they're a dog or cat or horse or whatever, and what your question is. Those are the only things I need to know, and take it from there and see what they have to say. Right.
Absolutely awesome. I like that. I am going to be doing a workshop in September on for people. Let's specify that for people. I only do people. But anyway, we're going to be talking about past lives, and is a past life harming you in this one? And then I'm having you on the radio that same day, and we're going to be talking about past lives. Are our pets still with us? And if they are, what do they want to tell us? So that's kind of this, and we're only going to focus on that day. So that's going to be a really great show. But you truly do believe that they go to heaven like the rest of us? Is that what you feel?
Yeah, I believe they go in the same realm that we are, and that we kind of hang together at some point, and I don't believe that our pets get. I've had this question before where people say, well, did my pet now get reincarnated from my previous one because they're doing something similar that the other one did, so they thought, well, maybe they came back. And what I have found is that pet that's on the other side is guiding the pet that's here and saying, oh, she likes it when you do this and that, so do this and that. And that's what's happening, is they're learning from the other one and just following the instructions. So it appears it's what the other one did, but it's really because Mom really liked when you did whatever it was. And so they just do it because they know Mom likes it and they want to please Mom.
Right.
So that's what I
So you think they're communicating from the other side, but they're not actually going. Do you think they ever come back, or do you think they come back as something else, or do you think that that's it? They just came here once.
I believe they can come back, but I don't believe they come back in our lifetime.
Do you think they come back as something else, or do you think they come back as the same animal?
I don't really believe they come back as something else, although perhaps a male versus a female or a different breed maybe, but excuse me.
So that,
but not.
Yeah.
I don't believe it's crossbreeding.
Well, that explains why one of my exes came back as a pig. No, I'm kidding. I shouldn't say. None of my exes have come back as a pig. Although, maybe. Who knows?
Well, you could maybe do a spill. Maybe do a spill.
No. We're not going there. It's not that kind of show. Stop it. Stop it. Only positive. We're only going to stay positive. Okay, listen, anybody want to call in now? You have limited time because we're really running out of time here. So if you want a question for Frances about your lovey pet, your feathered friend or your furry friend or scaly friend, it's 949-313-8880. And I'm not talking about men. You cannot call about men. You can only call about animals. Yeah, other kind of animals.
I prefer the four-legged.
Yeah, four-legged kind. So, no, I know. I honestly think that, because Wayne Dyer passed on probably like at least a year ago. Oh, we have a caller, so I'll have to tell you that story later. So here we go. Hello? Hello? Caller calling in. Hello. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Is this Claire?
Is it who? I'm sorry?
Claire Source?
You are on the phone with us, yes.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I apologize. I love to listen to the show, and I couldn't get my stuff to work to listen to more often or earlier, but I sure would have a question.
Go ahead.
What is your name?
My name's Catherine.
And Catherine, what's your pet's name?
My deceased pet's name was Hayden. I still have Emma, who lives with me still, but I lost Hayden about 6 months ago, and they were, this one's crippled and a little bit bubble short, but she looked up to Hayden so much, and so I guess...
What words, are they both the same type of pet? What are
Yes, they are. They're both Shetland sheepdogs or Shelties, sable in color, and I lost Hayden at about 13 and a half, and Emma now is almost a little over 13.
So what's your question?
Well, my question is for, I guess, little Hayden, wanting to know how she is, and we miss her, and does Emma think she's around sometime, talking to her or being with her?
Absolutely. Hayden comes around and keeps Emma company because she's a little bit sad. She's a little bit down. So she comes around and kind of assures her that everything's okay and that she's okay and she doesn't have to worry about her. That Emma was a little concerned about, she didn't really understand the process too much of what happened to her. And so Hayden kind of has been explaining to her that at some point Emma will also be joining her, but not yet. And so she doesn't have to worry about her. She's okay. And she's not hurting, and she'll be just fine, and she'll be waiting for her. And she comes every now and then just to touch base.
Yeah, because Emma doesn't she used to stay at home all the time with Hayden if I'd go somewhere, and now she just won't even let me out of the door, a lot of the times until I tell her I'll be back. So,
and be sure and tell her how long you'll be back. Is it just to the store? Is it going to be at lunchtime? Or be sure and give her a time frame.
Okay, I can do that. Oh, you've been very kind. I really appreciate it because I thought Hayden must be coming around, but, Emma was just very distraught, and I appreciate that input.
No problem.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you for calling in. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
No, it's my pleasure, and thank you for your information on Hayden.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Welcome.
All right, that was a call. And okay, so now when we got a caller, Francis, while you were talking to that caller, 2 other callers called. Here's one more. Here's one more right now. We still have time, so let's take this one. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I got through.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Francis.
Let me. My question.
Go ahead.
Okay, I guess I turn off the voice so I can hear talk.
I think so. Turn off the
I have a
voice so
dog named Sage.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to sound horrible. I hope it's okay to ask, but I never had her fixed because she was born in my backyard. And I thought of breeding her, and I don't know what she would want.
Okay. Francis...
I also, if I could only reach her sometimes, I wish I knew how to communicate with her because I love her a lot, but she's different than my other dogs.
Huh. Okay. Well, Francis was on the phone, and we took one call, and then you called in, and now suddenly she's not on the phone. So I don't know. Are you on the line, Francis? Because she's been on the line with us all this time. So I'm sending her a message to call back now because she's not on the line. Hello, Francis. Are you there? Francis? She should be calling back in. I just sent her a message to call back in because we've lost her.
Okay.
So
I hope I wasn't talking live. I'm glad I wasn't talking live when I said all that.
No, you are talking live. You are talking live right now. You're on the line and you're talking live. And she was on the line talking live too. But hold on a second. Francis, yes? You need to call back the studio line. You somehow got disconnected when this caller called in. So if you call back in, we'll put you back on, okay? 949.
What is it? 949-313-8880, right?
Right.
That's what I called.
Oh, no, you called my cell phone. You're on my cell phone right now. And we're still live. So call in right now, okay? Okay, bye-bye. All right, there you go. Now you have been live with your question, but she hasn't heard your question. But everybody else did. But you can repeat it.
Okay.
It's okay. You didn't say anything. You want to know. You want to know if you should breed.
If I should breed her.
Yeah.
If it's appropriate, it's okay to breed her.
How old is she?
She's 4. She just turned 4.
Here you go, Francis.
And she's a sweetheart.
Hi, Francis. Francis is back on the line. I don't know where you went there for a second, but cell phones and other things do crazy things. So, so right now we have a caller on the line. Go ahead because we're running out of time. So go ahead and ask Francis your question. I'll let her answer. I'll stay out of the way here. Go ahead.
Francis, I have a dog. I've never had her fixed. She was born in my backyard. She's
What's
in
her
heat.
name?
Her name is Sage.
What's her name?
Sage.
Common name. Okay.
And
what kind of dog is she?
Truthfully, she's a mix, but she's got some wolf in her, some shepherd in her, and some husky in her.
And how old is she?
She's 4.
Okay. Okay, so
And she's
in
really
heat,
sweet.
And what else?
She's in heat. She's sweet. She's precious. I've had other dogs I didn't have fixed because I thought it was healthier. But this one I want to breed. And I don't know if it's the right thing to do.
If she's not a purebred, why would you want to breed her?
Well, it's a hybrid. People don't want to have hybrid wolf dogs. They breed them as mixes. So I don't know that I would want to have her as a pure wolf. That wouldn't work.
So your question is, should you breed her, or
is it right to breed her? Would it be good for her? Is it what she would want?
let me ask, Hold on. I asked her, and she said, well, if I have them, do I get to keep them? And I said, no. And she said,
keeps
well,
one.
Then what's the...
She can have one. What's the point? I had another dog that did communicate better, and that's exactly what she told me. How funny.
So she said the same thing, huh?
If I can't keep them, why bother?
Yes.
But she can have one. But that makes perfect sense.
Quite the same.
Exactly. What's the point? Where are you calling from? Can I ask what, you know, not specifically, but what state are you calling?
What state? I'm calling from California.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that was did you get that's a good answer, I think Frances gave you.
It's a good answer, and I can understand. Just one would be all she could probably have. I don't think I could keep them all.
Well, no.
Besides the fact that I want them to have wonderful homes, and that's why I'm being so particular. It means a lot.
Okay. Anything else you want to add, Frances?
Oh, gosh. If I could, I only ask if Frances could just help me to communicate with her better. It would be wonderful. This is the one I have the hardest time communicating with of all my animals.
Well, are you in Southern California?
I'm in Southern California. I'm in a little mountain town here.
Just because I have my classes and I can help you one-on-one in my class. Or if you want to get my
You're in Laguna.
The exercise. Laguna or Huntington Beach.
I'm so far away from you. That's my problem.
Oh.
I look at everything you send and I keep going, I want to go. And it's so hard for me because I can't get away and travel that far that easy.
Well,
maybe grab a friend and make it a nice jaunt. Then stay the night in Laguna Beach is gorgeous.
Well,
my budget might limit me on some of that.
Well, also the books.
The time will come.
Right. I thank you for calling in, but also the books would help. And eventually,
books.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm sure they would help. So, if you can't,
I didn't know there were books. I'm relatively new, and I didn't know there were. I'll find them.
I have them on my website. I wrote 3 books. One of them is Learn to Speak with the Animals, and there's a number of exercises you can do and practice so that you can recognize your intuitive ability and to be more receptive to hearing or seeing or knowing what the animal is telling you.
Right. Also, Frances does personal one-on-one sessions that you could do on the phone. So, and eventually we'll be
that might work.
Yeah, eventually we'll all be doing seminars online too, so maybe not yet, but you can always call her one-on-one. Right, Frances? I'm plugging you here, girl.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. I do like a 30-minute session, talking with your animal and communicating and answering any questions and finding out what they have to say. And for those that are out of Orange County and those that are in Orange County, I can go to your home.
Right. Frances even has clients. She has clients like I do all over the world,
Right.
Some of my biggest clients are in Singapore and Ireland and Germany and I do it via Skype. So there are all kinds of things you can work out. I really do think, what's your name, caller? I didn't get your name.
It's Judy.
Oh, Judy, I appreciate you listening to the show. We're running out of time, but I really love you for listening and for tuning in and making the phone call. And I hope that we helped you, or Frances helped you anyway, right?
Frances helped me.
Yeah.
And the big help is that I know now where to look for more, Frances. And I will do it.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
And take care, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, Frances, see there? You've got a new client. I'm sure.
Very good.
Yes. So that's the
Wonderful.
whole point, and we are out of time. So so that's what I did. See, I told you it was funny because one person called in and then 4 people called while the one person was on the line. And I'm like, okay, we can only take one call at a time. And we've been saying call in the whole time, and all of that. So that was interesting, and I'm glad that you tuned into her dog, Sage. And I don't know where her mountain town is, but we can, in this day and age with technology, we can always help people any which way we can,
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Uh-huh.
And going on Amazon or Kindle, you can find my books. Just Google me in Amazon.
Right, exactly. And also the name of your website again is franceswgreenspan.com. And now your books are on Amazon, and your books are also on your website. Where you are, what you're doing, all that stuff is there. Continue the good work. Now you're coming back in September when we're going to talk to more animals that have that you've lost along the way, or actually not lost because they're still with you, but that you might want to communicate. That's going to be a great show, Frances. I'm really looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
All right. I appreciate it. It's a Sunday night in Southern California, and I appreciate you coming on. So thank you so much. Take care, and I appreciate you being with me tonight. Thank you. Good night. Good night, Frances.
Good night.
What a great show. I really appreciated that and the callers calling in. I have a really good show next week as well. I have a great show every week, don't I? Yeah. It's going to kind of be how it goes. But anyway, his name is J.M. DeBoard. He has written a book. The book's name is The Dream Interpretation Dictionary, Symbols, Signs, and Meanings. So if you're dreaming or keep dreaming, this is going to be an interesting interview because I kind of don't always necessarily think that one meaning for one person means the same thing. Like an elephant may mean something to you and different something to me. So we're going to have that whole conversation because it's a big book. He's got everything in there with symbols, signs, and meanings, and he's got a philosophy on that and an answer for that you're going to love to hear. So we're going to talk about that next week. He's going to be on the show live, and you can call in with questions if you've been dreaming or have dreams that are disturbing or recurring. He's the person to ask because he knows. J.M. DeBoard, he'll be on next week. Jason is his first name. I know that because I've read the book. So anyway, anything about me is on ServetHassan.com. You can, it's ServetHassan.com. I'm also doing one-on-one consultations. Like I said, I will be doing workshops starting again in September, traveling around. I will also pick up on my blogs and podcasts and everything at that time too. It's an interesting summer, and I will catch everybody up on what's going on. I hinted about some medical things, but everything's under control, and we just take care of it as we go. Keep meditating and keep being the best you can be, because that's what this is all about. In the end, my work in this world, and it will come out more and more clearly over time, is to demystify the mystical so that everybody knows it's really easy. It's not about a certain religion or a certain text or a certain anything. It's something inside of you. And it all starts with you being you to the full, because that is what's really beautiful, and that is what makes your life happen, being your true authentic self, and then doing what comes naturally out of that. And that is all part of how you manifest anything you want and live a happy life, which has nothing to do with money, and we'll talk about that later. So tune in next week. Be you to the full. It's Servet Hassan tuning out, and good night.